Hello everyone, or the 5 people to tune in. Welcome back to Speculative rosters for the upcoming Total War Warhammer 40,000. Today are the Orks, the biggest and the baddest of the 4 factions. They're also a personal favorite of mine, both in fantasy and in 40k. They're a very fun horde melee faction with lots of vehicles to get in close to the enemy and some surprisingly nasty ranged options. They also have a wide range of characters and fun lore to dig into, so while the headlining legendary lords were difficult to choose from, the others not so much. This is also the 5th time I've had recording this video. I think the Orks have cast a spell on me. Without further ado, let's look at the confirmed units thanks to the gameplay trailer. In the top left here, we have some Killicans, which are basically just little mechs, Storm Boys in the middle left, Orks with boxes attached to them, a Stompa in the bottom left, or the big mech in the cinematic trailer. In the top right there, you can see I have outlined in red. I thought this was a Mega Nob or a mech at first, but upon closer inspection, it's just a Death Dread, plain and simple. And in the bottom right is a Battle Wagon. All in all, a pretty good glimpse of what their roster is going to look like, which allows me to kick off right into the Lord options. For the Orks, there is absolutely one guaranteed option. That is the equivalent of a Primarch for the Orks, Ghazghkull Tharaka, the Prophet of the Great Wog. He is a monster of metal and teeth and is wicked in both melee and range. He is the great unifier of the Orks, and his campaign goal is about unifying all the clans together. As for a second option, I did greatly struggle with this. The Orks have a lot of really good characters, so I tried to find one that is greatly separated from Ghazghkull and has a very different aesthetic, which is why I decided to pin this on Captain Badrock, the leader of the Flashkits, focusing on heavy ranged firepower. He's also an Ork pirate, which should be very fun. Expect looting and pillaging and raiding to a Polno degree, while Ghazghkull is much more focused on bringing together the biggest Ork swarm of all time. Our average or Lord options are a lot more limited. Another thing I struggled with in this is thinking of anything other than the War Boss, coming in a Mega Armor variant, which is very tough. War Bosses excel in melee. Expect them to eviscerate anything that gets up close. In Warhammer Fantasy 1, we had Goblins to supplement the other Lord options. This was before the DLC, of course, but in 40k, we have Gretchen, of which have no leadership positions in any sense. There is also no generic caster that works as a Lord in Ork lore. They could always just go around this, but whatever. Our hero options, however, are much more varied. Although similar to the Marines and the Guard, mechs are your vehicle specialists with custom force fields they can equip to become great at deflecting ranged fire. Weird Boys are your average psychers, however, are able to propel themselves with da jump, acting with the mobility of a jetpack trooper, redeploying anywhere on the map. Expect this to be a movement buff or to fly, if they implement that. Pain Boys are your doctor, almost different than the apothecary for the Marines. The Pain Boy buffs nearby troops to take less damage, while also being wonderful at killing enemy character models with the precision keyword. In game, I expect this to be represented as high armor piercing, high melee attack. Now, under the actual meat and potatoes for the Orks, the infantry. As stated before, the Orks are a melee horde rush type faction. Get in and start swinging, which isn't to say their range is terrible. Their average boy comes in a hybrid variant and a shooter variant. They do what they say on the tin. Boys with choppas are great at melee and close quarters, while your shooters use accuracy via volume fire to spray down range. As for Gretchen, they're the goblins of the game. Use them to run down range, absorb fire, step on a landmine. They're living footballs, meant to be kicked around. Pure meat shields, nothing special to them. One level higher than your boys are your knobs. They're the Ork big uns of 40k. Nothing fancy. Kind of boring, actually. What is absolutely fancy and not boring are the Flashkits. These are your heavy weapon squads that use large cannons to shoot down range. Accuracy via volume fire is an Ork specialty. They're still very strong in melee, though. Expect them to fight back if jumped by Catechins or Furies. Storm Boys are your assault marines, Orks with rockets on them, as stated before. Jump in, kill everything, jump out. If they fail, they'll still go out with a bang, which is nice. Expect them to have a very high charge bonus. For your more stealthy operations, or stealthy as you can be as the Orks, you have the Commandos. Able to get in close and come out swinging, they are armed with bomb squigs. Expect this to be a one-time use, almost like a fire potion from Warhammer 1. Point on an enemy, the squig is going to run off towards them and then explode on contact. Sort of like a bloated corpse from Vampire Coast, from Warhammer 2. If you hate stealth with a passion, as do all Ork players, the Mega Nobs, which absolutely look ridiculous and need a new model, please Game Show Workshop, I am begging you. These guys are your line breakers. Equipped with massive armor and melee weapons, they can activate a temporary melee bonus to exponentially increase their killing power. They also do not like ranged. Heavy weapons for either anti-infantry or anti-elites. Do with that what you will. With still no information on how exactly the customization is going to work, I can assume squads of infantry like Knobs or Mega Knobs are going to have these little variants like ranged or close range or plasma or etc., while vehicles and characters will have the full customization as shown in the gameplay trailer with the Dreadnought. As for vehicles, you're going to notice a theme very quickly. Whew, starting with another confirmed unit, the Battle Wagon. This is a very highly armored troop transport that almost acts as a chariot. Expected to do more than just ferrying troops, it has the firing deck special rule, so orcs can shoot out of it while they're stationed inside, although the Battle Wagon can close all of its windows to increase its armor with the Ard Case ability. Next is another troop transport, much more common, expected to be one of your first vehicles, the Truck, with 2 Ks, because it's orcs. What do you expect? It's a very fast-moving transport, less armor, but allows for much more shooting from your orcs in the back. This can be very useful for kiting enemies with your shooters. The Stompa was shown in the trailer, a rogue idol from Warhammer 2, but much more armored and beefy. This can also be used to ferry troops, but less for rapid deployment, and more getting them across a really rough firing zone. Killer cans are your quick armored walkers, good for getting in close and ripping to shreds. Use these to screen through light infantry. Other than that, not much to say. They have a few weapon variants, nothing that really shines. Your Daka Jets, here at the bottom right, are one of your only flying units as the Orks. Very quick flyers to get in and get out. They should also be good for killing slower flying enemy units like the Valkyries from the Imperial Guard. And finally, earning a place all on its own because I realized last minute, and because I ran out of room, the Death Dread. Now, the Death Dread acts as a dreadnought for the Orks in both lore and in gameplay. Tough, slow, has multiple weapon options changing in and out. It's a very useful unit, especially against units with high armor. It can come in a purely melee variant if you're feeling that way. Again, we have to wait for the customization. I hope to God it's really good. We'll see. Finally, the DLCs. There's one obvious one, and most Orc players will have thought of it the second I even started the video, and you noticed a few things missing. The Beast Snega Boys. Led by Mozrog, these Orcs are a lot more rugged, and even more about killing up close, if that's even possible with the Orcs. Usually accompanied by squids. They're very fast and brutal. You have your Beast Snega Boys, your Squig Riders, and their Kill Rigs, which are these massive things at the bottom left. Next is a character I personally love, but really had no room here, but works for a more off-center choice if we're thinking of a similar stereotype as Skarsnik from Warhammer 1. This is Zodgrod. Zodgrod is a great runtard, the leader of the Gretchen, and these next few don't really have models, but I had tabletop sim to work with, bringing Grot tanks, Mega tanks, and the massive gargantuan Squigoth. All in all, to bring about swarms of infantry, aiming to make a Gretchen-only army viable, similar to how Skarsnik made Goblins only viable. With all these lads, that wraps up the Orcs. I hope to have nailed a very good feeling, and the emptiness from a lack of blog posts or information of 40k are seeping in. Next are the Aeldari, which scares me because I for one have never played them, and I've never played against them. Milk and Cookies Total War has made a great lore video about them, but in terms of starting army rosters, I have no idea. His video will be linked below in the description. His channel is just great overall, and is where I greatly get inspired. Maybe I can start putting together starter armies if I get bored enough, and if people have enough of a want for it. Speaking of, thank you for joining me. Please like and share it so I can get a schizophrenic horde of loyal followers, or don't, that's fine by me. I did this for fun, and I'm surprised to have anyone here at all. Cheers, hope you had fun, and ta-ra.